For more, let's cross live to Madrid, from where we're joined by Ruairidh Barlow, football editor of Football España. Thank you so much for joining us, Ruairidh, and what I know will be a very busy day for you. We were expecting it, but I'm fascinated. You know, there was such excitement around Ancelotti's return to Real Madrid. He's got such legendary status, but how is he being viewed right here, right now, today, given what's happened this season and the manner of this departure?
Yeah, I think Ancelotti's always going to have come in for a lot of criticism in Madrid for his he has perhaps a less tactical style. With managers like Pep Guardiola or Jurgen Klopp, it's more clear what they're doing and there's more of a clear identity. And I think of late that's kind of gone out of fashion with managers, whereas Ancelotti is a little bit more nuanced in how he approaches things. So he's come in for a lot of criticism over his second spell at Real Madrid, but I think you'll hear almost all kind of players, certainly at least, and managers kind of speak warmly of Ancelotti. He's somebody that is very personable, somebody that's got the best out of the likes of Vinicius, even Kylian Mbappe, who had a poor start to his career this season. He's someone that gets the best out of the stars, someone that's improvised incredibly well at Real Madrid, but more than anything, somebody that's known how to kind of ride the waves of this Real Madrid side. I think you can look back through history and there's very few managers of any status that have handled the pressure at Real Madrid as well and have managed to keep them on an even keel despite the demands on them and despite the general hierarchy of the club, which is not always the easiest to manage. And so, yeah, as one of the most successful managers in history, he'll go down and he'll be given a very warm farewell.
Do you think that is still going to be the case, a warm farewell, despite the disappointment of this season? I mean, how much of the blame is being pinned on him?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think from the start of the season, people have always seen Ancelotti as one of the root causes or root issues of this Real Madrid side as to why they haven't necessarily been successful. But that's been kind of a two-headed blame game in some senses, because many people have pointed to the hierarchy at Real Madrid and their inability to give Ancelotti a more balanced squad. We saw them against Barcelona, as Ancelotti pointed out, without 5 senior central defenders, 5 internationals. And it's just not feasible for a top-level club to be dealing with so many absences and not have strengthened the squad. Last season, they lost a couple of key players, Toni Kroos being the most notable. The season before, Karim Benzema. And I think part of his downfall has almost been that he's improvised too well during his second spell at Real Madrid. He's got so much out of what he's had that Real Madrid haven't seen necessarily the necessity to spend big, even though they did bring in Jude Bellingham. But his use of Bellingham to replace Benzema was incredible. It was a masterstroke for me. And I think, yeah, Ancelotti, as much as people see him and his inability to find a balance for Real Madrid this season, I think people see that his downfall is partly the end of a cycle. This is his 4th year now in charge of his second spell, and partly to do with the squad that he's had at his disposal.
And you talk very, very well about the challenges of being manager of a club like Real Madrid, but actually a lot of those characteristics are in the plus column for him in terms of why he's appealing to Brazil, aren't they? You know, he has a relationship with a number of the players, as you rightly mentioned. What are you expecting for what we see, what will be a very new challenge, taking on an international role?
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see how he deals with it. I mean, the CBF president, Editor Ruairidh, put out a statement as Ancelotti was announced, saying the best manager in history takes over the best team in history. So that tells you just how high the expectations are for the Seleção. I think
a team in history and not in recent times. I think that's the problem for Brazil, isn't it?
Well, that's a very pointed point that you make there, Amanda, as well. And I think you're dead on with it. But what has to be said is that this Brazil side has lacked some of perhaps the magic that has characterized Brazil over their 111-year history. And people see Ancelotti as someone to bring that back, somebody that prioritizes talent in the attacking third, somebody that gets the best out of the talent in their attacking third. So I think what they'll expect from him is somebody that can manage the egos in the team, somebody that can find a balance and, again, as we said, improvise with a Brazil squad that maybe isn't as blessed as it was in the past with kind of for a full 11 of kind of world stars, but someone that does, or a team that does have plenty of offensive firepower. So I think what they expect is for him to have the right length of leash for this Brazil side and be able to provide these players with a structure, but also enough freedom to create and be the Brazil that so many people fell in love with.
It'll be fascinating to watch. So many questions about what next for Brazil. So too for what next for Real Madrid. But I very much hope we can come on to those at another time. Rory, for now, thanks very much indeed.